So today I'd like to talk about chords. And so anyway, again, most of you who are familiar with my drawing series are probably wondering, why am I doing so many, or why am I doing these music tutorial videos? And part of the reason why is because I like to say that in drawing, I've often said, that with drawing there's a sense of feeling, that in your art you want to convey feeling. You want people to feel something when they see the artwork, and it's not just a technical exercise. Why music? Because I think music has. It's so hard to make music without feeling something, especially when it comes to chord progressions. So I think that we can understand music. I think more people have more of a taste in music. They have much more musical exposure than they generally have artistic exposure, and so this is just easier for people to get a hold of. So chords. This is a really feel-good chord progression. Feels good, right? Feels uplifting. It's kind of this major, I guess, scale. But then I could take the same three notes, C, E, G, and let's make it a little wrong. Kind of cool stuff, right? So I'm totally messing with emotions. Music is like amazing at emotional manipulation, and I think that good art, my favorite artwork is stuff that is really able to manipulate emotions, and I think that it's as an artist you've got to be a master at emotional manipulation. I think. And if you were going to get into a relationship, you're going to be dealing with emotional manipulation. It sounds terrible and horrible and all that, but I say, hey, it's a part of life. You should get used to it, get good at it, and here with music, when we understand music and we understand about chords, it means that we can actually learn about emotional manipulation, and we can learn, find a way to codify it, find a way to put your finger on it and make it into something that we understand. So anyway, right. So chords. Chords are, before I was showing you guys patterns, right? I was doing this whole thing where I was splitting up the chord, and that's an arpeggiation. And a chord is just the whole thing all at the same time. You're just blending them, bang, all at the same time. So not much difference. And also, last time I was simply using the chromatic scale, just the white keys. There are different scales. These ones involve the black keys as well, and you'll see how different it sounds. So in a way, if you've seen my drawing series about color theory, I would show you things where I have color palettes, right? And usually if I do any kind of fashion design, I only have maybe 5, maybe 6 colors. Sometimes not even that. Sometimes it's down to 4 colors, and it's just a matter of adjusting the proportions of each. I limit myself to a certain number of colors, even though you can have 64 million different colors represented on a color screen. It's not necessary for you to use all of those colors, and in fact, it might actually be bad, right? It's like whenever you eat food, you don't just take every single ingredient on the shelf and throw it into a pot and mix it up and blend it. No, you'll throw up, right? It sounds horrible. It tastes horrible. So the same things with music in that with the scale, it's like a limited palette of colors, and you're confining yourself within those colors. And so I guess the closest thing to a right note and a wrong note is a note that is outside of the scale or outside of the palette of colors or palette of notes that you're going to use. Right? So I'm just sticking within this minor scale right now. Now, another thing, here, let me just wake up my phone. Wake up, phone. All right, here we are. So let's see. Yep, arpeggiation I already talked about. I'm just emotionalization. I already talked about that. Right. About when I was talking about scales versus chords versus palettes, another thing I'd like to talk about is just the way in which, you'll see that the first thing I do is I put my thumb, right? There's a kind of a positioning. Now, this means that you have to position fingers before applying pressure. I don't often talk about that. It was almost like, again, if we look at my drawing series, I say that you have to figure out where you're going to draw that line. Where does that line go? How thick should that line be? You know, think of these things in advance before you apply the stroke, because once you apply the stroke on the canvas, it's there, it's not going anywhere, it's tough to erase it, you know, unless you're working digitally. When you're performing right in front of people, you can't take back the notes that you've played, right? It's the same thing like working with ink. So in this case, right, with me putting my fingers on notes, and I'm not in performance, I'm not out in public right now, I'm just practicing. This is where I'm mixing my colors, and I'm seeing right? So I'm just mixing colors and trying to see what's available, you know, and what kind of notes can I make. And also, I mean, I've got two hands. So this is almost like mixing a color, loading it up on a brush, and then applying the stroke. We got two hands. We essentially have two brushes, each of which can be loaded up with a particular color. So you'll notice how I have different ways of applying, maybe not a brush stroke, but you know, a keystroke. But the idea is that you're putting your fingers in a particular position to get a certain sound, and then you apply, and you figure out how are you going to apply it. Will you apply it like this? Will you apply it like this? Will you apply it like this? Or will you apply it like this? And they're the same keys, and yet there's so many different ways in which I can apply the same keys. So rhythm is like everything. Rhythm, tempo, the way in which you apply it. There's so many ways. And so if you ever find that when you're playing and you're practicing and it's getting kind of boring and grating on you, if you are composing music and you're finding that it's just you don't know what to do next, you need variation. And I'm just showing you that you can vary the tempo, you can vary the rhythm itself of those same notes and gain additional variation. I think when we're trying to come up with new tunes, we're so focused on coming up with hooks. We're trying to get that little hook that, you know, when you look at like, you know, top 40s music, they're all about finding one hook and repeating the damn thing over and over again, and then you got the song and the chorus, the song and the chorus. And I don't so much look at, you know, chart music. I look more at cinematic music, cinematic, orchestral. This is music that's about shifting moods. It's about getting a particular kind of feeling right away. And so, you know, that's what I'm trying to kind of get across, is that think about moods and don't worry about trying to make chart music. Just if you're going to study music, get on streamingsoundtracks.com. Get on some internet radio stations which specialize in cinematic music and orchestral music, and listen to a huge wide of genres of music, and find the music that moves you. Right, and then maybe one last thing I'm going to show you is a little thing I call tactile triggering. This is maybe to help people who are having difficulty with the whole pattern thing. Right, now, tactile triggering This is something that I think of when I'm trying to do the whole thing where I do two up on one hand, one up on the other. So, right, two fingers, right? Now, tactile triggering is, to me, that is the theory of using this finger, my middle finger, and my thumb. So the thing is that whenever I feel my pinky go down, it automatically triggers these two. Whenever I hit this one, it automatically triggers my middle and my ring. So every finger is going to trigger, every finger on my left hand that plays is going to trigger off something on my right. So if you're trying to speed up, you don't try to speed up the one that's doing. If you're trying to speed up, you speed up the left hand, the slow hand. You have to speed up the slow hand, not the fast hand. Yeah, so you see I'm screwing up because I'm trying to speed up the fast hand. Don't speed the fast hand, speed the slow hand. There's another funny thing is that when I really want to practice something and kind of get in the zone, I actually have to kind of push my thoughts out and just stare up at the ceiling and just go at it. So sometimes I find that thinking about exactly what keys to press can actually screw you up a little bit. So you kind of have to, there is a bit of a let go thing, which is really tough. And you have to kind of learn to let go. That's a tough one. The other thing about tactile triggering is this, is that I can do the opposite. I can make it so that I concentrate on the right hand, the fast hand. It's weird. You can't actually see what I'm doing, but I'm trying to do it so that when I play two, when I play three, when I play on this finger, that finger, that finger, it causes my other hand to trigger. So maybe if I just bring it down to just one note at a time, you'll see what happens. Two fingers, okay, so. So every time this finger hits down, it causes me to trigger the other side. And vice versa, it can work the other way. So when this finger hits, it triggers this hand. So, I need to get a new keyboard. Anyway, we're out of time, so if you like, please comment, subscribe, you know the drill, and bye.